Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live, again, from our comfy couch here on the outskirts of the internet. This is the Gaming Saloon Reviews! Surprise, Part 2, due to power outages, for April 13th, 2020, with your hosts, Beastmaker2448 and Rampant Epsilon.
Hi again.
So yeah, folks, you're wondering what happened last night. I lost power because, major storm blew through, with a tornado actually touching down in Chattanooga. So I was more or less without power for 12 hours today, approximately, from last night till today. So, yeah. We'll be covering... Yeah. We'll be covering the 3 episodes, well, the 2.5 episodes we didn't get to last night.
But technically the last 3 of the batch.
Yep, so we'll stay on track. We will still be doing 100 Icons Sunday.
Yeah.
Almost done. At least we end on a high note with the first Heisei Generations movie. We just have to get there through this trudge of a series.
I feel like getting there is going to be the problem.
Yeah. So, anything before we recap part of an episode? Before getting to the good stuff?
Nope.
Alright, so episode 43, Connect Genius Juvenile. There are 5 days left now, because of the events of the movie. We'll cover that next week. And by next week, I mean Sunday, so. If you're wondering why 2 weeks all of a sudden have disappeared...
reasons.
Short version, Takaru died again.
Because he always does.
Yeah, that's like his one major character trait.
And yeah, it also kind of helps solidify the fact that, you know, he's better outside of his show.
Oh god, yes.
And I feel
So
like I watched, I guess I should mention that I watched Railroad Generation, and yeah, I feel the same way about Sogo.
You actually like Sogo in the movie?
I'm actually fine with him in that movie. And I'm like, how?
I forgot who wrote that movie.
But that's one of those, I'm like, how? How did they write him better than his own show? Why have we done this twice?
Oh, that explains a lot. Is Yuya Takahashi wrote that movie. He's the... Okay, I would say the main writer for 01, but he's not written an episode since 22.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, he's more or less the primary X8 writer. Who's written the show since then? the other X8 writer who wrote all of the supplemental stuff. That might explain a lot. Yeah, I think my only, like I told you, my only problem with Favorite Generations as a movie is all of the Geo stuff. Oh, here's another time jacker. Where the fuck did you come from? Who are you? Why are you here?
I feel like I'm fine with just saying, okay, that happened because movie, and just kind of walking away from that point. Looking at that, though, I feel like it actually handles Geo far better than the show did.
Yeah. I'm also confused on why she was able to create another Ichigo right botch out of Soko. Wait a minute. How did you poof that into existence?
I call movie shenanigans.
Yeah. But yeah, Rare Generations is fine. I really need a Type 1 Soto right now. I kind of hope it comes in the next set. But anywho, back to the proper episode. We need to be talking about. We see Adele was reborn in the Great Eye, and he is completely nude because reasons that don't go anywhere, unfortunately, because I would think we would at least get a funny bit out of this, but nope. Everyone gathers around Ryu's grave to have a quick chat about stuff, because that's how everyone gets introduced to the team.
Yeah. I don't get why, but yeah.
Then we cut to some kid who's apparently gone super genius because he's writing a bunch of equations and singing a song and being creepy, weird, horror movie kid, I guess, is the best way to put it. Back in the basement, Kyrie's doing some analysis on Makoto and Alan's stuff, specifically the Deep Spectre icon and Necrom's brace. We don't know what she's analyzing, but she's looking at it. So she gets to do science stuff for an episode. Back over to Alan. He's apparently now in complete control of the Great Eye's power. And doesn't mind being nude because he just goes and sits on his throne without wearing any clothes. And Igor just takes orders from him like it's normal. I am disappointed, show. Why is Igor like, Adele, can I fetch you some pants at least before you sit down on your throne? Or a cushion? Because I don't think that throne looks comfortable with nothing on. We find out that Demi. We find out Demi is on track, which, hey, that subplot will finally pay off after being nothing for several dozen episodes. Ugh. Back in the basement, Sage tells Sakaru to more or less figure things out with Makoto about his whole twin situation. Because, I don't know. Thanks, Sage. Proving to be useless. Still.
Yeah, but at least this time he's trying.
Yeah. Although apparently Inari is also being sidelined because he's useless. And I go, how is this different from any other day?
Pretty much, yeah.
Literally, how is this different from any other time? His one job here is to run the investigation team. Or the investigation side of the business. That's it. That's his one job.
And sometimes he can't even do that right.
Yeah. How is this any different? But this is when the mom of the kid drops by to ask for help. So Takaru and Inari head out to investigate. When they meet the kid, he continues to be weird and far too smart for his age, with all sorts of fancy long equations. And something about, was it Beachy's last equation? Or theorem? I forget which.
I believe so.
Some fancy math thing that is only important for math's sake. I have learned that there's being fancy for the sake of math just to be math. Because I took a math class that was about just math. Like the very basic concepts of math and like why we have them and all that. It was a class. More or less, if you don't like doing proofs, don't take a class like that. AKA, I chose poorly. Because I don't like proofs. Especially as an engineer where it's just like, proof? Why do I need a fucking proof? It works, right? It works? Okay, I just need it to work. Back in the episode, we find out that other people are being far too smart and also acting weird and also eating random things, like the kids eating honey earlier in the episode out of a bottle because I don't know why. And then the guy's drawing equations on the road while eating a chocolate bar. We find out the commonality between all of them is that they all use the beta version of Beep Connect's contact lens internet, which is contact lenses that connect you to the internet to give you all the equations and stuff. This sounds stupid. And also kind of impractical.
I mean, contact lens internet.
Yeah. They try to go to Bill's to talk about this, and he's playing dumb because, you know, he's possessed by a game icon. We've done this for months now. And Takaru still hasn't done the eye symbol thing on him to check for that. And won't later. And while we're not told how many people have the beta version, we're told that 15 million people apparently have the retail version of contact lens internet, and I have to wonder, who the fuck would want this?
Very good point.
I don't know if 50 million people would want contact lenses that they have to wear to access the internet. Google Glass didn't even go over that well. And it's the same idea.
Just done poorly because Ghost.
Yeah. Checking in with Takaru and Inari real quick. Inari decides to put on contact lens internet because that seemed like a smart decision. Why?
I mean, it's Inari.
He makes some very hard, questionable decisions this week with the episodes, and I don't understand why. Besides, we need him to do these because the plot demands someone be involved in this.
I mean, to be fair, parts of Ghost feel like that.
Yeah. Anyway, after Inari starts listing out pi, which, okay, I don't think you need to be really smart to remember several digits of pi. You just need to be good at memorizing something. That doesn't prove you're a genius, Inari. Calm down. Igor drops by because he is ready to do his weekly jobbing to Takaru. And he does, and proceeds to immediately run away because we have a lot of short fight scenes from what I remember. Checking in with Adele real quick, he explains, now with clothes, because somebody went and fetched him a new uniform, that Demia will apparently make the Earth and the Gemma world one in the same. I don't know if he means that one in the same, like literally one in the same, or just the exact same in terms of just hellscape?
That's a good point there. I honestly don't know.
Yeah. Checking in with Makoto, he fights Makoto some more because, of course, he does. And after beating him, Dell then proceeds to use the Great Eye to revive all of those Genmisers we've beaten, and they spawn Makoto clones that all fuse into one person. So now there is only just one Makoto. Why did we have to make all the Genmisers come back? Besides, oh no, we've ran out of monster suits for Takeru to blow up. And we still have 6 episodes left. Shit. At this point, the team figures out they have to shut down the server for Damien Project because otherwise they can't shut it down. I mean, you could try to convince Bills to say no. Have you not tried to ask Bills where the server is? Where the off button is?
I mean, no.
This is when Alan heads out to help Takeru and Onari because they're at Deep Connect. And Igor's there to job some more. Except he is, as if we find out that Deep Connect more or less allows them to rip people's souls out of their bodies and put them into icons and turn those into goons. And at this point, Alan arrives to go, hey, well, if we just break the icons, those people go back to respawn, aka just back to their bodies. Like, that's been established for the entire season.
Yep.
At this point. Why are we treating this as we need to do this now?
Kind of the whole reason that Alan and Makoto are standing there, kind of deal.
I'm sorry, but did we think this would not work like the other stuff, even though it's doing the exact same thing? But anyway, Onari also has his soul ripped out of his body and put into an icon, but apparently he has control of his, so he's not turned into a goon. I guess because he just put his in, it's fine.
I don't get the reasoning for the show on that one.
Neither do I, outside of they wanted to do this bit that comes up, because after they beat all the icons and send Igor back to respawn, I think he goes boom. He goes away. Onari decides he doesn't want out of his icon and proceeds to possess Alan. Because... And that's the episode, folks. Which takes us to episode 44! Activate Terror of Demia! The teams were up to speed on what Demia is and how it works, and now we have to continue to try to find the server, because that's our only real plot point right now. And also at this point, Makoto says, oh, by the way, all the Genmisers are back because I felt it through the Deep Spectre icon. So we are right back to goddamn square one. After weeks of Takeru gaining emotions and blowing up Genmisers, we're back to having 15 Genmisers. And Adele.
Because reasons. Because we cannot let these stupid Genmisers die.
No. No, because we only have so many monster suits. Like 5 of them are monster suits, 5 of them are weapons that have to be held by somebody, and then the other 5 are just CG balls. We don't have any way of properly working this season. Anyway, dropping back at the kid's place, they find the kid is now invisible in terms of his body, even though he has his soul back. And he's trying to cool off in the shower because he's hot, because I don't know why. He just is.
Yeah. I'm at a loss on that one too.
Also, Inari's body goes invisible too. This is when we check in with Makoto and the monks. They're trying to contact Bills. Waste of time. Just gonna put that out there. Back with the kid, his soul gets taken, and Takaru hops on the soul for a ride through the contact lens internet, because that's Takaru's life now. It's just riding through not how the internet, I guess, works. So as he's riding through, he ends up in... Honestly, the best way to put it is, I guess, the perfect VR world for everyone who's in contact lens internet, I guess. Because I don't remember what is the subplot with this kid. I know he was apparently sick or something, and I guess he wanted to play soccer, but he's too sick for it. So now in VR world, he's playing soccer. But yeah, Takaru tries to talk him out of it, and he doesn't, because one of us, essentially, and everyone else is, and they become a giant contact lens, and they start to put themselves over the eye that's on the tablet in this VR world. And I can't help but notice how many goddamn times this everyone gets stuck in their perfect world thing keeps happening in Japanese media. Ryu Solger just did this plot point for the finale of their goddamn show. Ugh. But in order to break their control, Takaru just works with Beethoven to play music, and that breaks the hold, and everyone gets to go back to their bodies, and everything's fine. Except we still need to find that server, so, we've made no progress outside of, okay, everyone is out of contact lens internet VR world. For now.
Yes, everyone, quote unquote.
Yeah. But Akari knows where the server is, so they go there. Makoto ends up having to fight some Genma when him and the monks find Igor, or find Bills. But he keeps walking away because he's possessed by the Genma. And Igor pretty much tells Akari, Takaru, and Inari in Alan's body outside of, yeah, I've been playing you the whole time. You were kind of too stupid and too busy to not do anything about this. So, yay! So, Takaru and Inari, who's transformed into Necrom, because this is the bit we're doing, fight the respawn Genmeisers, and they job out Inari and send him back to his body properly, thankfully. So Alan can be useful, because, Inari trying to make himself useful has unfortunately made someone else who could be useful right now not useful. What the fuck? So Alan, now himself, works with Takaru. They clear away for Akari and Inari to get to the server room. Akari, I guess, also knows hacking abilities or how to work a server, because she manages to shut the server shut the server down, because she found the right block that was the Demia server, I guess. Also, that server room is not loud enough to be a server room.
Nope, not at all.
So they thought they've shut the server down, except it's not. It's just the beta server. So Demia goes off, people have their souls start being taken. So, yay! We failed! So Takaru has to turn the light, hop on just follow the bright lines in the sky that are leading to the actual server, which is at some old church. And the server is a monolith, because of course it is, because this show keeps using monoliths and not really talking about what all these monoliths are. So there, Tucker tells him where it is, and he has to go solo for a bit, fighting some Genmisers. And he's failing a little bit until the team shows up. And then they proceed to blow up the Genmisers and Igor, who's also here, because Igor's like the only other person we have as a villain who's a named character, so he has to keep showing up for fights and keep losing. This is why you have a progression of villains, and you have enough villains to, like, not have this keep happening. Ugh. So they kick the Genmisers, blow them up, but not permanently. And they blow up the Monolith, saving the day! Except Adele proceeds to then show up, more or less going, I am Contact Lens Internet, because he is the actual main server now, I guess.
Because that's
Cool.
how it works.
Yep, so I guess he now has more souls than Takaru. And that's the end of that episode, taking us to episode 45, Horrible Disappearing World! Our writers are immediately blasted back, and Takaru and Adele fight each other for a little bit, and then proceed to see memories of each other's childhood, which kind of freaks them out, and Adele proceeds to run off. And this is where Frey and Freya show up. If you don't know who those people are, don't feel too bad. If you didn't watch the Heisei Rider specials, you have no idea who these people are or why they're saying Takaru is the key. Again, for like the 5th or 6th goddamn time in these 5 episodes.
Because Takaru is the key.
Yep.
To what? I don't know, but he's the key.
Yeah. I honestly don't remember what they are. I think they're like arbiters of the Great Eye or something. They're related to the Great Eye somehow, and I don't remember how. But they're important. Somehow. Even though this is literally their first appearance. And the last 6 episodes of the main story. The literal last 6 episodes of the main story. Thanks, Joe. Adele back at base now. The Genmisers try to tell him Takaru is important, and he's like, no, fuck that. Fuck Takaru. Kill him. So now Makoto now gets his own Deep Spectre icon because...
He's Alpha Makoto?
More or less. Back in the basement, Makoto figures he has a connection to the Genmisers. With the Deep Spectre icon, he's going to try to connect with them to try to help in some way. And then they land on the plan of using the monolith in the basement to get to the Genma world to go blow up Adele and stop him. I don't know why that wasn't their first plan, to get to the Genma world. You did this once already! You can literally do it again! Except you don't have QB this time, but, like, just fucking call him. I'm sure he's out there in the world somewhere. Alan and the monk set out to go save Bills because we have to go save Bills. Because I don't know why. Dude, we have to. It's on the checklist. Checking with Makoto, he tries and fails to connect to the Genmisers. So Makoto shows up, goes to the Deep Spectre. Makoto goes into the Deep Spectre. They proceed to fight each other to more or less a draw. Because that's how their fights are going to go for a little while. Takaru tries heading in the Contact Lens Internet, but he is smacked out of it by the Genmisers, who just fight with him for a little bit and then run away because he's out of Contact Lens Internet, and that's all that matters. But Takaru can now hear everyone's voices that is, I guess, in Contact Lens Internet, so... Yay! Alan at T-Connect saves Bills because he does the eye symbol that I don't know who taught him that, but someone did. So Bills is saved. Yay! We check in with Igor real quick, and we see him starting to become Adele. Because that's the plot now. is that everyone connected to Contact Lens Internet will become Adele. Because what's better than one white meat heel? All white meat heels. All around the world. Because don't we get the footage from like different locations, and the Paris one looks like it's from a completely different quality of video than everything else?
I think.
Because I saw that Paris footage and I was like, what the? This is clearly from a lower quality grip, or lower quality, like, stock footage. Which may or may not be Copto related. Back over the talk room, he talks about his mom, which he didn't get to know because she died early? Was it early or at childbirth? I don't remember.
I think early?
Probably. But this is supposed to parallel Adele, who doesn't want to talk about his mom, that Allie is trying to get him to talk about, to try to get him to have a face turn. That's not happening. Anyway, Gamemizers show up to fight Takaru, while we check in with Makoto real quick, who tries to kill Kanon and can't, and runs away, because now that he is Makoto, he cares about Kanon, I guess. Yay.
'Cause that's how that works.
We're starting his face turn for no reason. Anyway, all of our riders gather up, face the Gamemizers. Ryder kicked them apart, but I guess they're not destroyed this time, even though Takaru did connect with one of them with Mugen, so I guess they're immune to Mugen just outright killing them now. Joy. And then Takaru goes invisible for some reason. It's a mystery because it's the end of the episode. Except we end on stage back in the Genma world, and there's a monolith down in the subterranean area under the palace and stuff in the Genma world. That looks like the one that's in the temple. I don't know what it means, but that's the end of the episode. And that's the end of these 3 episodes. So how'd you feel about these 3 episodes?
Meh. I mean, I believe I said it yesterday at some point. I am just over the whole Gamemizers aren't dying.
Yeah, they are so boring.
And I realize that this is the start of that. The final boss doesn't die, because let's be real, this might as well be. I know you said it's not. This might as well be.
I think the proper final villain is in the last maybe 2 episodes of the series.
Which is a problem.
Yeah.
In of itself.
And I'm thinking it might be the Great Eye and the Gamemizers together, I think. Is your final villain.
So then I'm not too far off by saying the Gamemizers might as well be final villain.
Yeah. But yeah, just all of these episodes are supposed to be paying off the Demia Project subplot that's been going on, but like we haven't gotten anywhere with Demia Project because we've been busy with other crap for the last dozen or so episodes since that started. So I don't care, because it never seemed like Demia was that important, but now it's super important because it's the main plot of the series. And through it all, we more or less just reset everything we've been dealing with for the last 10 episodes we've been dealing with the Gamemizers and blowing them up, and then it's just like, nope, they're all gone. Or they're all back. We're resetting that because
because we can't let the show kill the Gamemizers.
No. Because otherwise that takes away Adele's powers, and now he's super easily beatable. So yeah, it's a kind of boring batch of episodes in what has turned into a very boring show
Yeah.
with only like 5 maybe high points or so. I don't know.
And like that's what's so bad is that here we go with another show that is just kind of on that bad, but it also could still be worse.
Yeah.
Because like that was the big point that let me go as far as I did through Geo, is like, okay, yeah, this is bad. This is clearly them not paying attention, but it could be worse.
Yeah. But we're almost done. We have 5 episodes left, 4 of which are the main plot. The last one is just a pre-X8 Ghost crossover before we cover the actual Ghost X8 crossover. But that's in 2 weeks, because next week we get to watch the movie that takes place coincidentally enough between the 2 episodes we did this week. Because it's after the 2 episodes we did last night. And all of the movie episodes. Because they all take place, I guess, after the 2 episodes, according to the writer wiki in terms of their continuity.
Hmm.
But yeah, next week is 100 Icons, and then we get to see how 100 Icons ranks among the rest of the Heisei Rider movies we've watched for Phase 2. Oh boy.
Yeah.
It's not gonna end well, because I kind of remember this movie, and I'm just like, oh, this is just like the quality of the rest of the show. Except Takaru has a really stupid line that I swear is contradicted in series.
To be fair, that wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Yep. Anywho, the rest of this week and the normal times is something on Wednesday. I don't know what I'm doing Wednesday. They'll probably be figured out the day of or tomorrow. Chipping away more at Breath of the Wild Thursday. We will probably get half of the rest of the shrines we're missing. Depends on how long it takes me to do all those shrines. We might be done and move on to just doing moon collecting and Odyssey next week. Because I don't think there's anything else I really want to do in Breath of the Wild besides the shrines.
I mean, you don't want to collect all the poo?
No. Like, the only other thing I think I would want to do is get all the clothing. Which involves me to not doing all the Korok seeds, so. But I don't think I want to go through that, because that would more or less me once more pulling up just a map and looking for treasure chests for all the DLC armors and stuff. Friday, chipping away a new batch of Fortnite challenges, and whatever short thing we're doing for weekly co-op.
Yeah, I don't know yet.
Yep.
I
Saturday,
started to have like a couple of thoughts, and then I was like, I've got a couple more, so now I'm like, uh-oh.
Saturday, I'm just going to play some more Tetris 99 for pre-show, and Proper Gaming Saloon, where we're going to talk about
some releases at least.
Yes, the releases, and I might talk to you about the ending of 7 Remake. Oh boy! Because I'm willing to wait till like Saturday to talk about it.
Is that a good oh boy or a bad oh boy?
That depends on your feelings about 7 and what you wanted out of 7 Remake. I'll put it this way. For someone on the outside looking in on 7 in general, the juiciest thing to talk about and dig into is that ending. Because otherwise, everything else is just 7, but expanded. But this is something. And then Sunday, the usual Sunday clue, and us talking 100 icons. Yay. But anything else?
I can't think of anything.
Alright, if you like what we're seeing, drop a follow. Really appreciate it. Chipping away at the follow goal. 4 follows away. You can help me fill in the schedule at the moment because you can just make me do Rider Revolution on Wednesdays. At Exclamation Point Discord on chat gets you Discord link. Drop by, say hi. We got Dropbox for questions. We could probably use those for Saturday, so go ahead and put some in there. And at TG Saloon on Twitter, we'll get you updates on when we go live. But that'll do it for me, for Tommy. Good night, everybody. We'll see you this week at some point.